Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of HDI Local Chapters live stream show. Our show is brought to you by Robert Half, which is a talent solutions firm and a leading provider of technology professionals needed to build, deploy, and operate technology in this cloud and digital world. And they do this by placing highly skilled IT professionals either on a contract, project, or even a full-time basis. And they basically help you keep your businesses going. You can browse available candidates, you can search for jobs, you can access additional valuable information on hiring and career insights online at roberthalf.com/technology. All right, so let's get on with our show. Today, I always say this, I'm super stoked and excited about the episode, but really, truly, I am. Today, our guests are the production team that puts this show on. So, welcome to the show, team. Let's talk about who we have here. First off, we have Brandon Caudle. He's really the man that started this whole project, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. And then we have Amy here, who is our executive producer. Amy, I'm going to let you say your own name on here, because I always forget. Is our executive producer. And she joined the team after her awesome episode earlier on this year. And then we have Terri Oropeza, who is really our unsung hero behind the scenes and handles a lot of the marketing, the social media, and basically getting word out there about this program. And I'm your host, and as a request, I have two screens up. I wanted to show everybody, like, this is what it looks like behind the show, and not just the cool screen that you see with us in blocks. So this is what it takes to kind of run the show every week, and let's get started. So first, we'll start with Amy. So Amy, oh no, I'm sorry.
I
want to start with Brandon. Yeah, Brandon. So you're the godfather of this whole thing. So let's tell us how this happened and what the purpose of the show is.
Hey, I'm content if you start with Amy. I went to the park for a few hours on a break, and I can just sit here and just enjoy the sun.
No. We gotta hear. So no, seriously, I want to hear. Let the audience know how. I mean, because the promo for this was, have you ever wanted to start your own podcast or Twitch stream or something like that? And we want to talk about why.
Sure.
You have to have a purpose, right?
You bet, Tom. So to think back to when we started this show, wow. Some of us have been involved with HDI, the local Tech Chapters Association, for pretty much 2 decades. You can probably tell by my hair, I've been around a while. And over the years, we always try and reach out both locally. I live in Southern California. I used to live up kind of closer towards Terri in Northern California. And across the U.S., and in Canada, and also we used to have chapters in Mexico as well. We always try and reach out to folks who are local. A few years back, though, we started realizing that we're missing a lot of folks. There's a lot of fellow tech professionals and people who want to be tech professionals that maybe aren't near a chapter that we have and aren't in a place that can meet, or maybe the time doesn't work for their work schedule. And so Tom and I talked about this. I think we've had a couple other folks involved as well. How can we reach some of those 12 million tech professionals in the U.S., the 20 million college students in the U.S., not to mention people anywhere in the world? And so we looked out and said, let's go where people are. Where would our kids be? Where would our people who are in their 20s be, or maybe in their 30s? And so we looked and we said, let's put it on Twitch. And so that's basically what we decided to do, Tom, is we're gonna jump out there and we're gonna have a live stream show. So it literally airs every Wednesday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. It's live along with the goof ups and the mistakes and everything. We put it out there, and then we do load it later so that people can watch, because maybe you can't watch this 15-20 minutes for your work schedule or your commute or whatever. But we decided we're just going to step out there and do a live show. So just like back in the olden days when you had radio, I know it still exists, but when you have a live drive time show, this is what we do. And that's kind of our history.
Yeah. So Brad, just for everybody in the audience, you too can be one of these like Brandon was the original executive producer, and he now lives in Southern California. That's all I'm going to say. I guess I need his job so I can move out of these cold states and into the places where there's cool weather and beaches, right?
You're welcome to come. Tom's been to my place. You're welcome to come back and stay here. And really just the part that I want to give to everybody is there's a lot of us tech workers, and there's a lot of people that want to be tech workers. It's a great career. It's a great job. There's so much potential. It's a solid career. You can make a good living. We want people to join us. Hey, you know what? Come on our show. Come talk to us. Come to the local association. Join the virtual meetings online. Network. And Terri and I have known each other for well over a decade, and there's a lot out there. So that's what we're doing with this show is trying to reach out and show all the possibilities that are in technology. We want people to come be techies with us, or like me, pseudo techie, not a real techie.
Right. So Brandon, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we this is a volunteer run show as well as the organization, and some of us are crazy enough to do this, and we had Amy on our show one episode, and she decided to volunteer. So Amy, so what is your role? It sounds pretty cool, but I always watch TV shows and go, what the heck does that executive producer mean? Because it lists like everybody like as a producer, but there's always that one executive producer. So what do you do?
To be quite honest,
it means they pay the money. They fund the show.
To be honest, this is a newly appointed role for me, so I'm still kind of learning the ropes. Thanks to Brandon, who voluntold me that I was the executive producer, which I'm very honored. Thank you. And by the way, Brandon, that was more than 2 minutes. Sorry. This is what we do behind the scenes: make fun of Brandon. So anyway, just to get to my role, first I'll back up a little bit. Like Tom said, I was invited onto the show because I used to be involved with the Oregon-Washington HDI chapter. I was a local officer. I've worked a lot in the nonprofit sector within the tech workforce space with, young adults and people that are wanting to change careers or get their foot into technology. There's, such a skills gap. And so a few of the environments I've worked in, we've tried to help close those skills gaps and get people who want to get into that career. So I just started networking with HDI, and I loved the community. I think the national HDI community is so awesome and has been such an asset to a lot of new technologists that I know and to me. And so I just really, and I have to say, everyone on the show is super fun and cool. So I kind of got sucked in and really enjoyed being a part of this team and really loved getting so many of my friends and people that are in my network who knew nothing about HDI. I wanted to connect them with HDI because I just think it's such an important network and community for anyone who is in technology. So that's why I got involved. And then, I'm sorry, this is probably not going to be 2 minutes either, but why I got involved or what I do is get people on this show. So I have a pretty fun job where I get to, reach out to random people or people that have been referred to me, which, anyone out there listening, if you want to be on the show, DM me on LinkedIn. But I get to chat with people and kind of talk about, like, what do you want to talk about? And it could almost be anything except for gaming. Gaming is off limits. But anything else relating to technology, no matter, if you're a veteran, if you're an emerging technologist, if you're just wanting to get into technology and you want to talk about it, we can get you on the show. So that is what I do.
It's funny because you say that, but we have had people around the gaming industry. If you remember Nate Brown doing the customer satisfaction or customer experience with that. But you're right. And you know what, Amy, the really thing that I think is cool about this, because I have the easiest job of the four of us, but I love the fact that I get to meet and talk to so many cool people. I mean, I knew Terri and Brandon before this, but I met you through this, and what a wonderful experience. And I have gotten to meet so many cool people, and there's so many more to go. So, what did you say, Brandon? Brandon's saying something?
So, this is kind of the biggest thing. We've had people ask, why not gaming? Well, we're on Twitch, the largest gaming platform in the world, maybe the universe. And so that's why we do anything but gaming related technology, because we try and add that little niche in there to Twitch.
Right. And one of you need to mention SmackDown so we can get some SmackDown guests on the show. All right, I want to move. We're down to about 5 minutes left, and of course, since you're the bosses, we can make this go as long as you want it. So it's
Remember, I'm the boss,
right? So we don't have to stop it. But although you all are on the West Coast over the left coasters, and it's like no problem for you. It's only 4:00. Well, some of us out here, on the East Coast, we'll just. But anyway, I want to move on. So we mentioned Terri is probably the most silent member of the team, although I will say she's very chatty on the Twitch chat, which is awesome, gets people going. But of course, that's because she's responsible for marketing and social media, and she was a guest early on and understands the importance. So Terri, tell us a little bit about being involved as the market, because you do a lot of marketing and communications for HDI local chapters, and this is just, it's a little different. So talk to us about it.
It is a little different. And I think, the interesting thing is that in my job in IT, which I was an IT manager for almost 30 years, 23 years at one company, it does happen. And marketing and communications always ended up something that I did because technology needs to be communicated. So it's kind of been a skill that I've honed accidentally for many years, and I also did own a printing and graphics business back in the day. So for this particular activity, because we do a live stream, plus we record it and play it back in our library on YouTube, and they're 15-minute, very informal, casual conversations like we're doing today, where we can, talk to people who have come into the tech field, like most of us, talk to people who have something to sell, talk to salespeople who are selling technology, very lucrative opportunity for the next generation of tech professionals. So we're covering a lot of different areas involved in what is referred to as tech jobs in the IT service and support space. There's so many things beyond just sitting in front of a computer and writing code. In fact, I don't think any of us write code or wrote code.
No.
But many of our jobs dealt with people or training or mentoring and growing people. So my role here is to take the information that Amy gathers and Brandon gathers and write copy and post it in a timely fashion. I'm not always good at that. On our social media platforms, including LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter and whatever else. So, and I would love to find some next generation folks who have found their own niche in any of those platforms and can learn from what I know, and I can learn from what they know, and we can get the word out farther. So communications, it's an all the time in the background thing that happens.
And it's funny because it's one of those things where, I hear the saying, well, every company has IT. Well, every company has marketing and communications too. So it's the unsung hero, I'm telling you, because without it, this wouldn't happen. Nothing like that would happen. All right, so we're getting down.
Well, in the marketing and communications, we all do IT projects, and if somebody doesn't explain it to the end users, they don't go well.
Yeah, no, true. So we're down to less than 2 minutes. I wanted to give you each an opportunity to talk about, anything you want to leave with the audience before we call it a show. Amy, let's start with you.
Well, I think the most important thing for me, because we want lots of guests, I want to fill up the entire 2022 within the next couple of months. So come on the show. If you're interested in being on the show, reach out to me. We can chat about it and come up with a cool topic, and just DM me in LinkedIn. It's a great, awesome community.
Brandon, any final words, thoughts?
You bet, Tom.
Not more than 2 minutes.
Time me, Amy. If you work in technology or you want to work in technology, having a healthy network is your friend. Having people that you can go to in your job and say, hey, I'm doing this. What are you doing? How does this work? Being able to ask peer to peer, that's a lifesaver. And so I'll just put it out there. If you want to have a really strong network, a community, come out and join us. Come be on the show, or come work with us behind the scenes. And it's a lot of fun. And come check out the HDI local chapters as well. We got conferences coming up. We've got meetings every month that are virtual. You can join from your desk. And like Amy said, come join us on here. It's a great network, and it's a career changer of having a strong community that you can ask questions of and go to.
Yeah, and Brandon, I'm glad you mentioned that, because so anybody that's watching this either live or post-production, and it's before the first week of November, we will be at conference. Some of us at least will be at conference, and we will be doing some live streaming. So stop by, look for us. Well, I hope to have at least some kind of a banner up and do a little guest appearance. So that'd be awesome. Terri, final thoughts.
Yeah, I just want to say hi to Kirsten and to Heather on the chat. So Kirsten used to write code, she says. So she makes us official here. But I want to iterate what Brandon was saying, because to me, being part of a professional association in all the different careers I've had, which this is not the only one, has been really important to my learning and to my sanity, but especially in my IT career, which has, again, spanned a long time. Being part of HDI had helped me be successful in so many things, make me look smart to my bosses, kept me sane because it's a hard job, and made me enjoy it. And now I'm enjoying teaching the next generation about IT support as a faculty member at a local community college in Santa Cruz, California. So I love this space, and I love sharing it, and I'd love to share it with you.
Awesome. And before we go, I just want to mention, as the guy that's the easiest job on the show, just to point out, just wanted to show everybody, right here I do have the script that I use. I think we've been doing this, Brandon. This is our let me look at my script, 46th episode. So we've been doing this almost a year, and so I really don't need it as much anymore, except for the questions that I may want to answer, because as Brandon mentioned, guys we kind of lose our memory a little bit. But anyway, seriously, I just wanted to point out, if you're interested in doing something like this, I did not know any of this before we started the show, and I'm actually live streaming from my desktop with OBS Studio, using Zoom. So it sounds complicated, and we do a lot of screen, scene changing and stuff. But really, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I think Amy or Brandon? One of them said pre-show, maybe it was even pre-show, we would really like the opportunity to have guest hosts on the show. I think that's a wonderful idea. So if you're thinking about doing it, or if you're really good at doing it, because I'm going to call out some of our past guests. Some of our past guests, like Ben Brennan, who does his own show, NJ Robinson, who, by the way, shout out to NJ, had a wonderful weekend at our summit with him. This guy is a natural, and he was on our show earlier, and this guy, I would love Amy to get him back as a guest host. And so, Amy, I think that was a great idea, and someday, I might need replaced, and, if you fire me, you'll have at least a backup. So, anybody considering doing that, it's not as hard as it may sound. I know a lot of YouTubers make this look a little harder. If you watch how they produce things, they go a little, and they do a great job. We just don't go that into it. It's just a show of talking to our guests. So, and I agree with Brandon and Terri, this, believe it or not, I didn't talk much before the show. I know that's a lie. But it really has helped me. I've really met so many cool people, awesome people, and not just these three, but these three especially. But all these guests are wonderful people, and I've learned different things and met different people, and there's a lot more we have for you in 2022. So stay tuned for season 2. All right, it's about that time. We're gonna go ahead and close up the show. Just as a reminder, and Brandon said it, I think, Terri, if you're interested, check out hdilocalchapters.org. Find out more about our organization and how you can get involved in this, as we called it at Summit, not just an organization or network, but family. It really is like family, and we really mean that. And I know people from all over the world because of this, not just in my own little backyard. So, I have my email address on here, but if you go to hdilocalchapters.org, we have email addresses to contact. Usually people like Terri are answering those for you and getting them on to the folks to get you involved. So follow us on Twitch, YouTube. Watch us, share us, and hashtag HDI Local, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.